With us is Janel Nansenn. She is the founder and developer of Read-A-Rific, which is a reading comprehension program that is really making a huge difference in helping kids not only understand, but remember what they read. And Janelle, we really appreciate you taking a few minutes to talk with us about Read-A-Rific.
Oh, yes, my pleasure.
Well, let's start with your journey as it relates to the development of Read-A-Rific. Clue us in on that.
Okay, so I have a master's degree in speech pathology and audiology, and it went into a lot of depth about therapies and techniques, about working with children, working with learning. And when I actually got out of college, I felt like these techniques weren't going deep enough. I felt like they were at a superficial level, and I really wasn't getting the results that I wanted to with students. So I started interviewing specialists, going to seminars, conferences. I read all kinds of books, and I came across several techniques that were very powerful. And among those techniques is the one that I have developed into a program. And the reason I did that is because I had so much success. I had students getting out of special education and thriving. I had students that thought they couldn't go to college ever. It wasn't an option. They learned it was. They would go from D's and F's to A's and B's. And these were students that were not only just students that were falling through the cracks, as we say, but also those with dyslexia and autism and ADHD. So I was finding that this particular technique that I have developed into my programs, it was something that wasn't well known, even though it's evidence-based and there's a lot of research. And I was seeing that it was the most effective technique that I've ever seen for comprehension and memory. And I had teachers and parents and doctors say, you can't keep this in the four walls of your office. You've got to go ahead and do what you can to get this out to the world. And what's interesting is this is actually my calling. This is beyond, I'm just going to be transparent here. I did not know how to do voiceovers or videos or even how to develop a program, but the Lord put in my heart, this is what you are supposed to do. The kids need you. And we're currently in a reading comprehension crisis in our country. We have never had such a severe issue with reading comprehension as we do now. And to be honest with you, I don't know why nobody has developed a program like this, because it literally teaches. And what happens is one side of the brain hears and reads words, the other side makes pictures, mental images. So if you read something like the cat is walking across the street, you should see some kind of cat, some kind of street, some color. And if you don't do that, you're not going to retain information. You're not going to enjoy reading. You're not going to get good grades. So there's all kinds of ways that weak or non-existent visualization skills impacts learning. And I would notice throughout my career, I've had 5 practices in 4 different states, all very successful. And what I've noticed across those areas is not very many people at all were trained in this particular skill level, even though, again, it's evidence-based. And it was the most important technique, the most powerful technique that I've ever seen for improving comprehension and memory. Yeah. And so I knew why the Lord was guiding me, to do this, is because it wasn't there. It's not there in the market. And it's been a journey. It's been, it started off with me just sitting there, what am I going to write about? And it was before AI when I started writing this. It was all me, writing everything. And it's been a journey, but it's now, we did the beta test 2 years ago, just over 2 years ago now, and we had 30 kids go through, and it was kids about age 8 to 16, and they averaged 2 to 4 years gain in reading comprehension in 3 months.
Wow.
And so the program is 12 weeks. They do it 15 minutes a day. So it's very easy to fit in. We have adults doing it as well, all ages, even though the programs are geared for 3rd through 6th grade, we have all ages doing them. So it's been a journey, but it's been exciting, even though, as you know, sometimes we're asked to do more than we're comfortable doing.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what happened with me, but
Yeah.
I'm doing it, and when you see the results and when you see the need, I'm glad I've done it.
Oh, well, I think it's definitely needed. And, you talk about, really, it seems like simplicity is kind of the cornerstone to the program, right? That you're biting off little bits and pieces, which makes it manageable for both the parent and the child.
Exactly. One of the things that happened with me is a gifting that people tell me I have is that I've been able to take more complex things throughout my career when I work with people and make them simple. And so I've made this program where typically you have to see a specialist that's been trained. And I've been able to do it where parents, teachers, tutors, whomever can press the button and they just follow along, and they just have to make sure that the students are doing what's being asked on the video. But as long as they do that, it's that simple. And I've had people ask me, say, like some tutors and teachers, well, what kind of training do we need? And they're used to that, getting a program and needing training. And I said, well, actually, I do it all for you. You just have to press the button and make sure they're following what I do. And it is a structured program. It goes from visualizing one sentence to paragraphs to whole stories. It goes over the main idea, drawing conclusions. It goes over following 3 and 4 step directions, because I've even had 16-year-olds that they can't get a job or they get fired because they can't follow 3-part commands like go to the back room, stack the boxes, sweep the floor.
Wow.
So yes. And once they learn to visualize those directions, they can get jobs. And it also goes over spelling words, because over 50% of the spelling words in our language don't follow phonetic rules, like the word enough. You can't sound it out. But how the brain remembers is by visualizing. And if you ask adults that are good spellers, what's the rule for that? Oftentimes they can't tell you the rule. They don't know the rule, but they know it because they have visualized it in their imagination, in their mind's eye. And so that's where the brain stores long-term memory. So it's made all of these steps simple, but then it's more comprehensive. And then I've got a couple programs like multiplication program for memorizing the multiplication tables, or writing sentences, because for writing, you have to visualize what you're going to write before you write. And it helps, it helps with adjectives. If you can see things, you can describe it easily. So I've added those because some students need extra help. So those are separate programs, but it just is a simple way for everybody, whether it's a tutor, teacher, parent, whomever, to sit down for 15 minutes. Now, occasionally, if kids have real significant learning issues or it's new, they might take 20 or 25 minutes, but it's still in the beginning. But it's still not a long process, and it's only if they do it 5 days a week, 3 months. So yeah, the simplicity has really helped a lot.
Absolutely. And I understand that Read-A-Rific is actually a vendor of the Choose Act Alabama on Class Wallet. Tell me what that means for Alabama families.
Now, I'm a vendor, so I would suggest definitely going to the website to get all the, information specifically, because things change. But overall, what it is, it's a taxpayer funded program where families can get $2,000 to $7,000 per year. And it includes homeschoolers, private school, includes a variety of people. They even have things like military, low income, different things that you can qualify in different areas. So going to the website would be good to see who qualifies, but a lot of people in Alabama do. And then it covers programs like mine. Because I'm a vendor, instead of paying out of pocket, they can use this taxpayer funded money.
Okay, excellent. That's great for our families to know
Yes.
about.
Yes.
And I also know you're extending, to our readers and followers, a special discount, I believe. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So if you use the code BAMA10, BAMA 10, you can get 10% off my 60 session reading comprehension programs or bundles.
Okay.
So the program itself is 60 sessions. The bundles have the multiplication program, writing sentences. And then for the younger ones, I have some ebooks, and you get 50% off those products if you purchase the bundle.
Excellent. So if families want to learn more and get an even deeper feel for the program, what is the best way to do that?
The best way is to go to the website, which is read-A-Rific.com. And then also Amanda Melrose of eSchool, she actually did a video review of my program, and she goes over a lot of details about the program, the improvement her child made, which was 3 years gain in 3 months in reading comprehension. So she was thrilled. And she has an interview with me as well that goes into more depth about Read-A-Rific. So that's a good way to find out more information.
Absolutely, and we'll make sure that that is available, and the link is in the article. Well, we greatly appreciate you taking time to share with us, and we also want to thank you for pursuing your calling to provide this program for
Thank
people
you.
that need it.